Welcome to Whisky.com, where fine spirits meet. My name is Lüning, Horst Lüning, and I'm the master taster of Whisky.com. And today we have a very famous distillery here on my cask. It's a Glenfiddich, but not with a 12 years old standard bottle, but the 15-year-old Solera Vat Reserve. 40% ABV, 15 years old, and it's the elder brother of the 12-year-old. The 12-year-old is famous for being the most often sold single malt whiskey in the world, millions and millions and millions. Glenfiddich was able to switch over to 12 years of age in the year around 2000, 2002. And before that time, the whiskey bear no age statement on it, was named pure malt. It was a single malt, but without an age on it. And I've seen casks around 7 to 8 years, which were bottled before the year 2000 at the distillery. The 15-year-old appeared later, I think, and it was first named Solera Reserve. Today it only says 15 years old, and there is a small addition to this saying, the Solera Vat. What does this mean? In Spain, the sherry bodegas use a special procedure to bottle their sherries. They fill a big mixing vat full of sherry, and then they wait for a marrying period until the content of each cask marries and mixes with others, and some combining action is going on in this vat, and then they empty the vat half and refill it with new casks. And then the marrying period starts again, so you always have a mixing of all casks going into those vats before they are going into the bottle. So there is a harmonizing effort during this Solera vatting. It said on the label, the Solera Vat, unique to Scotch whisky, our Solera Vat marries whiskies matured in sherry, bourbon and new oak casks. That means they use the Solera Vat, but they do not use 100% sherry casks. No. They mix different cask types and fresh oak casks. That brings a lot of aroma of oakiness into a whiskey. New oak cask, and it always kept at least half full for having a mixture from one batch overlapping to the next batch. This creates a rich and complex whiskey which increases in depth and intensity each year. Our history in 1886, William Grant fulfilled a lifelong ambition by building his own distillery. He named it Glenfiddich, Gaelic for a valley of the deer. So there you have this deer on every bottle of Glenfiddich. Gaelic for valley of the deer, and on Christmas Day 1887 the first drop flowed from the stills. Today, still owned by William Grant's family, Glenfiddich is the world's leading single malt and still privately owned, and revenues more than $1 billion, family owned. Congratulations. There's a miniature on the market, so we're a little bit economically like the Scots themselves. My nails. Here we go. If you get your fingers on such a miniature, please look if the miniature has the same label as the big bottle, because the bottling changed over the years. So I did not know that there were new oak casks also in this Solera vatting. In former times, 5 to 10 years ago, I think there were no new oak casks in this whiskey. Vanilla, fruitiness, strong fruitiness, and beginning spice of the oak. It's definitely a lot stronger than the 12-year-old. There's a faint hint of honey. It's the vanilla and the caramel from the oak casks, from the burned oak casks. And the fruitiness is from one side from the distillery character, from the pot stills, which are the smallest under the big distillers. And they have a lot of them. I think it's more than a dozen or 2 dozen stills. No, more than a dozen. Definitely less than 2 dozen. A lot of small stills, and that leads to a strong character. And if you select better casks than for the 12-year-old, then you will have a heavier whiskey at all. Have a sip. Quite strong for a Glenfiddich. 40% ABV. Very spicy. Beginning oakiness. Little chocolate. Espresso. Fruitiness is there, but drier, becoming drier in the end. A long aftertaste. And definitely more power than the 12-year-old. And this is not power from the ABV, from the alcohol, but power from the casks. Definitely the better Glenfiddich, and because it's sold quite often, 20 times less or 30 times less than the 12-year-old, but quite often, it's also reasonably priced. Fruitiness. Very good. So I enjoy the Glenfiddich 15-year-old very much. It's a next step. If you got familiar with the Glenfiddich 12-year-old, then the 15-year-old is the next step. A little bit more expensive, but a lot more rewarding. Stay tuned. There's more to come. And feel free to discuss the taste of the Glenfiddich 15-year-old Solera vat on our newly opened forum on Whisky.com. And thank you.